There's been a lot of tragedy and heartbreak that I have seen in this past month, but perhaps this is the saddest, most disturbing thing that I've ever heard in the last 35 days. Dr. Simon, a Chennai based doctor, was infected with the coronavirus. He died a few days later. But even in his last moments, he was denied the dignity of death. He was denied a dignified burial. In fact, people turned violent as his friends attempted to say farewell to him and bid him farewell. One of those friends, Dr. Pradeep, who showed the courage and compassion to be with him in those final moments, is with us now. Dr. Pradeep, I can see that
Yes, madam.
very disturbed. I first want you to share with us what you're feeling right now.
Madam, this should never happen to even my enemies. Madam. I wouldn't want this to happen to even my enemies. Actually, this man deserved more than what he had. He was a very nice human being. He did so much for the people. He worked hard. I remember him being such a kind doctor for everybody. He would never have any haters. Such a human being he was. And the way he was treated was horrible, which I can't even come to my senses that this has happened to such a man. He expired fighting for the coronavirus patients. He was there. During even the outbreak, even during the lockdown period, he was there attending the emergencies. He was there for every patient who has been coming there. He never said no. He was there. Always. I remember him calling me when I even came back home. I remember him calling me, "Doctor, we have a shoulder patient." I'm an orthopedic surgeon, madam. He's a neurosurgeon. He used to call me, "Doctor, we have a shoulder patient here. Can you come and see him?" "Okay, sir, I'll come." And I used to go and see him, and I used to give opinions, and he'll be like, "Please do something about this. This patient is very known to me." He would address every patient as is they are known to him. They are my relatives. They are known to him. He used to say the same thing for every patient. That is such a thing which I used to listen from him. He'll be like, "This patient is very known to me. They are very close to me. Please take care of them. They are also very known."
He was a very caring man, and
very caring man, madam. So when we received his body from Apollo, we had to take him to a crematorium. So we were planning to do this by around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening on Sunday. And when this was happening, and we simultaneously, we heard that there was some protest that was going on in the Christian cemetery where he was supposed to be taken, because it belonged, that is where his residence is, and that is where he is supposed to be taken to. Because of that, because of this protest, the health inspectors were delaying the process, and we were requesting them to what next to be done. So what they said was, "Okay, sir, we'll change the venue. We'll go elsewhere. We'll go to another place where this can be done." And they made the alternative arrangements where nobody was there. As we entered the place, nobody was there. We had so many healthcare workers. We had all the proper everything. Everybody, the burial was like properly planned as per the WHO guidelines, where we had to dig the grave for 12 feet. And then we had to pack him with so many layers of various chemicals and all that, so properly put so that it doesn't spread. So all these kind of things were planned. As soon as we reached and the procliner started digging, it was around like 15 minutes by the time and passed, and we heard so many people screaming from distance, and they all came in closer by asking us to leave from there immediately, saying, "You have to leave from there. You're not supposed to do this. Why did you bring in a corona patient?" Because they were scared looking at us with all these the dresses which we had, the PPEs which we had, and this. Yeah, so they wanted us to leave immediately from there, and by the time the health officials were like, "No, you please stay back, don't come closer, that is an infected body, you're not supposed to come closer." They never listened. Actually, they started pelting stones at us, the huge stones that broke the windows and all the this thing of the ambulance, and we had to literally run for their lives. We were just looking at that, only we couldn't even come to our senses what was happening, and suddenly everybody started hitting us. The ambulance drivers were hit so badly. The people who were digging the grave, the procliner guy was running for his life. He was like hit very badly in his head, and he had to run for his life literally. And the healthcare workers who were standing there, they were all hit very badly, that they were holding their heads and running on the road. "Sir, please save us, sir, please save us." No, I mean, We had to literally run for our lives from there. The ambulance drivers picked up the body, they put them back inside the vehicle, and then they just bleeding all over the place. They had to, both of them, they had to drive him back to the hospital. And I was literally in shock. I couldn't do what. I took my car, I followed the ambulance, we went to the hospital. By the time I realized these people were like literally bleeding, I asked them to go back to the hospital, get their heads treated. I had to do something. By the time I had made few phone calls to the health ministry people. And
Where was the Dr. Simon's body when all this was happening?
his body was inside the ambulance, madam. Ambulance was trashed completely. His body was covered with glass pieces all over his, the packing which the hospital has provided us with, and I mean, it was all completely shattered. All the windows were broken of the ambulance, and no windscreen was there. Literally no windscreen at all. Windscreen was completely, nothing was there. It was empty, and even the JCB was completely trashed. And I had to follow in my car the hospital, where I dropped my car there and realized that there is nobody else now because we don't have drivers. Somebody has to do something. By the time when I was driving, I was making police phone calls to a few of the police and the health ministry officials, and they assured me, sir, that we are sending the battalion right away. And somehow the police gathered in the situation and they took the control. And now I did not have any manpower. There I had to wear the PPE by myself. I took the vehicle. I took the help of two ward boys. I called them, please come in, yeah, help me. And then they came in, they wore the PPEs, they sat in the ambulance. I had to drive the broken ambulance all the way from the hospital again to the cemetery. By this time, the police had already been there. They have taken the control of the situation. And we went there. Then after reaching the cemetery, I realized that we are the only ones who are wearing the PPE and nobody else can bury him. We didn't have anybody to even operate the procliner there. And all that I had to do was just, I had to put him with my own hands inside the grave. And with my own hands, I had to push the mud and close it because we didn't have anything to, we didn't have a single shovel was there. We didn't have anything else to close it. So literally I had to push the hands with mud with our hands, and took the help of one more policeman who saw us struggling. He came in, sir, it's okay, I'll help you out, don't worry. He also came in and he started putting the mud inside the grave. And literally I was scared for my life because I didn't know. We gave them a window period of about 1 hour. We didn't know a bigger mob can come and attack us. They might even make the police run for their lives. I don't know. When on one hand I was so scared for my life, on the other hand I can't leave my friend there. So we had to literally finish it off as soon as we can and put him back and close this thing and run away literally for our lives. And if not the police, definitely I'll tell you, we would have definitely lost a life as well. Maybe today things would have been entirely different.
I am listening to you and I can't, I feel broken. I can't even imagine what you're feeling right now, Pradeep.
I don't know, madam. I really don't know what I'm feeling. As a doctor, death is not new to us, madam. Death is not new to us, but fear is, fear is such a thing. I've never had such a fear in my life where we had to run for our lives and literally on the other hand, I had one duty to be done. The family people also had to leave him and run for their lives. Literally, his wife, she's 50 years old lady. She is such a innocent lady. She was there and a teenager son. He has been seeing things which he shouldn't have seen at all in his life. A teenager son seeing his father dead at such a young age, and a teenager son seeing his father's burial being denied by a group of people. A teenager son looking at his dead body of his father being attacked by a mob.
So he saw all this? His teenage son saw all this?
Yes, he was there. He was also running for his life, of course, when the attack was happening. He had to.
How old is the boy?
He must be 15, 16 years old boy.
And one of your friends put out a video where he was crying like you are just now, saying, look, this is what's happening. And what are these people thinking? And when you had to bury your friend with your own hands, And one of the things that you just said was that, you were terrified, but you couldn't leave your friend there. You had to just somehow put some, shovel the mud yourself and put it on his face. And I'm sorry to be so graphic, but, it's important for people to know this. What are doctors feeling right now after this has happened with Simon?
Literally, madam, we are all scared. Trust me, this is not first time. This has happened before. A doctor from Nellore underwent the same situation where he was buried without anybody, where he was cremated without anybody. None of his relatives were there. He was also denied burial in so many grounds. There was a lot of protests going on. This happened 2 weeks back. You might have already been knowing about this. A doctor from Nellore denied burial in Chennai, and this happened that time. Government officials were there, and somehow government intervened and they took action, and somehow he was buried in a place. And later on again, it happened again in Mettupalayam. There was again a doctor, young doctor, and he died because of dengue, not because of corona. But people still suspected that it was because of corona. And then there also, there was a lot of mishap that was happening, and unexpectedly, I strongly believe, madam, the reason why doctors are being attacked is the news about a doctor's demise spreads so fast. Maybe that is the reason. The news channels, they say out of, they want to make this thing visible to the people. And people, once they came to know that, yes, a doctor has died, and the doctor belongs to a certain area, then it is quite obvious that they will take him to the nearby, closer by crematorium. Yeah. So, that is how the people are knowing it, and they are kind of protesting it. So my kind request is this, madam, the national media should have to please stop telling the public immediately after the doctor dies. Maybe a little delay, maybe a day, maybe few hours, so that or it should be done in a way where it has to be done with proper full police protection. Either of the two should have to happen.
But because what a shame today that you are having to fold your hands before this country. Dr. Simon died in the line of duty. You are in the line of duty. By burying your friend, you showed courage and compassion. And today we have reached a stage where we need police protection to bury our heroes. Shame on us.
Madam, I am not a hero, madam. Trust me, I'm not a hero. I'm just a human. If being a human makes someone hero, trust me, madam, humanity has definitely died then. If you think being a human is hero, no, then definitely humanity is died. No, I don't think being a human is anymore a hero. I'm not a hero. I'm just a human. Anybody would have done, you would have done for your kith and kin if this would have happened to you. Anybody would have done the same thing. I did the same thing just because I had to. Somebody had to. I'm not a hero. Kindly don't project me as a hero. Everybody who's fighting for some or the other cause is a hero in this world. There are a lot of people. Every doctor knows this. Coming into this field, every doctor knows that they will go through some sort of contamination, some sort of a contagious disease to them, or they might get any kind of disease. We day in and day out, we see so many HIV positive patients, HBsAg positive patients, where we can get from them. Yes, when we operate on them, if their blood is getting spilled on us, yes, there is a high chance of us getting it. If there is a TB patient in our room, he coughs and goes, the TB can enter into our lungs and we can get TB as well. There are so many things like that, madam. Day in and day out, we can get so many infections. A doctor can get so many infections. We all know that. Like how a soldier knows that he can die when he goes to a war, the same way we also know that we can come in contact with so many things and something can happen to us. But still we chose this profession. We are working here just because we have to. And we love it. I'm not complaining. We are not complaining. Have you ever seen any doctor complaining about going and doing? No, they won't. Because they love what they are doing. Everybody is passionate about their work. But being treated like this by the society, please, we don't deserve this. We deserve something much better, at least being treated as a human. We are just humans. We are not heroes.
I don't want you to fold your hands. I want to fold my hands in forgiveness, asking forgiveness of doctors, nurses who are going through this, because I don't know what to say. I've seen a lot in my life, but I've never been broken by a story. You should not have to plead for dignity. You should not have to plead for protection. We have to hold our hands and bow before you.
I don't know, madam. Actually, nothing is going to change. We are going to continue our work. We are going to, no matter how badly we are denied, how badly, even today evening, I have given appointments to see patients. I have to go. Evening, 4 o'clock, I'll again go see patients only. That is what I can do. That is what I am good at. I have been doing this all my life. I'll continue to do, no matter what is going to happen. We will continue to do our work. Evening, 4 o'clock, I've given appointments already. They've called me up and they asked, sir, a lot of patients asking. So, okay, fine, no problem. Continue. Yesterday also I had to. Yesterday after burying my friends and with that face and my first face was all swollen. Still it is that I have been crying, man. I don't know. I don't know how, I mean, the images of me carrying his body inside and me trying to push the mud and clay, like, it's still again and again, it's flashing in my eyes. It's flashing in my eyes, I can't forget that. I don't know. On one side, I've been looking back when the attackers are again going to come back and again attack us. So I had to do it faster. So this is going to again and again. I was like so scared and, I've been crying, but I can't hold back. I'm not going to run away from my duties in spite of all this. Yesterday I saw patients. Today I'm going to go again. I have to see my patients. We have to.
There's nothing to hold back. You should cry. The fact that you're working through this, I'm crying listening to you, Dr. Pradeep. You lived it and you're still seeing your patients and you say you're not a hero. For me, you're the ultimate hero.
No, madam. That's what I'm again and again telling you. No, being a human, doing what a normal human being does, that is what we are all, madam. At the end of the day, we are all humans. The humanitarian, see, we have been taught so many basic things as a human being, and we can't forget that there is a word called humanitarian. It is being derived from the word being human. So we are all that. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we are all that. We can't be just something else. There may be some, like, what to say, those people, even they attacked us out of rage because of they couldn't understand what they were doing. They attacked us because it was a corona patient. It was a defensive thing for them.
No,
they don't want.
So let's not defend them. It may be fear, but it is not defensive. It is not defensible. And I'm tired of making excuses for absolutely criminal, immoral behavior, sir. I'm not going to make excuses for this behavior. Sir,
true, madam.
Last message, sir, for people.
I just want people to kindly, please, I beg of you, kindly cooperate with us, please. I'm really begging of you people all over the world. I want all of our people in our world to please stop attacking doctors, support them. We're not doing anything against you. Trust me, a doctor can never even dream of doing anything against their own patients. For every doctor, their patients are supposed to be their own. They want their patients to be good. There might be some little bit of selfishness in it. A doctor might think that if my patient is cured, I'll get a good name. Yes, I want that. I want to have a good name. Why would a doctor want to have a bad name? I want to have a good name. So I want my patients to be good. So I want to treat my patients well. So that is what every doctor will think. None of the doctor will want to spoil their names. So they're all working very hard. We're all working very hard for you. Kindly cooperate with us, please. Please don't do anything against us. There's been lots of doctors have already lost their lives. Lot of healthcare workers have already lost their lives fighting just for you, just with you. We have always been with you. So we will continue to be with you. We'll continue to be with you till we just kill this enemy who is not visible to our eyes.
Yes, sir.
We don't even know this enemy. We can't even see this enemy. Like, we can't even see this enemy. We can't destroy him with any bullets or guns, but the only thing which we can destroy them is just by listening to us. And we are there. Don't worry. We will support and we will continue to support. Please cooperate with us.
So I bow to your humility and your humanity, and God bless you and give you strength. And to Simon's family, a special prayer for Dr. Simon's family and for his compassion. God bless you, Dr. Pradeep. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much.
Thank you.